Story time with Brad! There have been several reported Ouija stories, many of which are claimed to be true but are actually false. Those, however, which are true, are very scary. For instance, this was submitted by John from Oklahoma. This story is on behalf of my dad, who is still alive but doesn't like to talk about the story. He told my mom, and it was on a night my dad was drunk, that I managed to get him to tell me what happened to him and his friends while playing the Ouija board. This was when my dad was in his 20s. He was a real live wire, and most likely up to no good most of the time. Anyway, him and his friends all went down to this derelict house, taking along the Ouija board. They started playing it, and the only reason why they were using it was they wanted to know who was going to win on the horses, so they could put a bet on the upcoming horse race. After a few minutes of trying, a spirit came through. But before it would answer any of the questions, it requested that they turn around a holy picture of the Virgin Mary so that it wasn't showing. They did, and then it requested that one of his friends leave. This man was known to be a really good guy, so anyway, they gave him his marching orders, and off he went. Then the spirit started to swear and spell out to them that they were all damned and going to hell. With this, the guy started swearing back at the spirit. Then the glass flew from the table, smashing against the wall, and the board went flying in another direction. After that, the whole house they were standing in started to shake, like it was about to fall apart. The friends all made a run for it. They jumped through a smashed window to get out as the floor shook and bits of walls and ceiling started to fall on them. As they all went for the same window at the same time, they all jammed together trying to get out. There was broken glass around this window, and they managed to cut their arms and legs to ribbons. My dad said that him and his friends, as soon as they were out to the other side, without a word, ran as fast as they could, all towards home. From then on, my dad has vowed never to use a Ouija board again. I'm Brad Roberts, and I also did exorcisms. An exorcism is when a human being is possessed by a spirit, good or evil. Be ready to put up a fight, as the spirit will do the same. To perform an exorcism, you want an experienced priest or rabbi. The first step is making sure the room is secure. Draw a circle of holy water around all those involved in the exorcism. Say several prayers. What's the word I'm looking for? Crap. Oh my god. It is also a good idea to say several prayers, most commonly those most traditional, such as Our Father or Virgin Mary prayer. You can also say the Rosary. In some cases, it may be necessary to give the possessed being a holy symbol such as a crucifix. Then, say the incantation. It is written in an ancient language, so you may need help translating it. The bottom line is, O Lord, please rid this innocent being of the spirit that possesses him or her. Send this demon back to the depths where it belongs. The being will put up a fight, and may shake a little. The spirit will eventually exit and go back to where it came from.
Now, bardo comes from the Tibetan word bar, meaning in between, and do, meaning island or marking point. There are 6 types of bardos. There is the Shane bardo, which is the first bardo of birth and life. There's the Malam bardo, which is the second bardo of... there's the Malam bardo, which is the second bardo of dream state. And there is the Samten bardo, which is the bardo of meditation. There is the Chakai bardo, which is the bardo of the moment of death. The Kanyad bardo, which is the bardo of luminosity and the true meaning which commences as the final inner breath. And there is the Sidpai bardo, which is the bardo becoming or transgression. The word bardo literally means intermediate state, or it's also translated into transitional state, or the in-between state. And once again, there are 6 traditional bardos known as the 6 bardos. The bardo of this life, the bardo of meditation, the bardo of dreams, the bardo of dying, the bardo of dharma, and the bardo of existence. Okay, there is a book called The Bardo Total, which is translated into the Book of the Dead, which was written by Admis Sambada, and he wrote the Book of the Dead, and he described it as a natural thing. When you die, you are reincarnated, and so death should be a joyous thing. And so death should be a joyous thing, and you shouldn't mourn against it. And that after 49 days of your death, then you are reincarnated into another person. So those 49 days are very vital, that there is a chosen one, and he is to read the bottom total to the body and then the spirit once the body is cremated. Now the body is cremated from about 9 to 10 days according to the astrological calendar. And it is cremated, it's put into fire and added with spices, and then it is put into as a sacrifice to the earth and, for example, put into the mountains. And usually when you are dead or dying, you are very sensitive to sound, so it's very important to read the bottom total. And when they are cremated, once again, they are all their belongings are auctioned off, and they are free from their body, and there's no more need to mourn anymore, that they are free, as in said, death is the freedom from confusion and fear. Compassion to all living is a path throughout this time to our death. Okay, death is described as freedom from confusion and from fear. Usually when you die, they're described as a bright light, and that is a good sign, actually. It's your die. But then there also is a distraction, is a soft light, and that is like the sin, and that you shouldn't follow soft light, you have to follow the bright light to your death. And so you have a nice death. You'll always be reincarnated. In the movie, there was a man, and he has died, and the monk could tell that he was bored in his previous life, and that in his next life he will become a bird. But if you have enough determination, you can become a human once again. For example, the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is said to be reincarnated 14 times. And as the man called Sakrapa, he was reincarnated. He was shot in the side, and there's a boy who was born, and he was born with a bruise. And his mother asked what happened, and he says, I've been shot. And it turns out that he is the reincarnation of Sakrapa, and that he is that he actually can identify everything of his belongings, and that he can identify his great aunt that is not even technically his great aunt. And there's such a thing called the Living Dying Project, which is a project in San Francisco, which is a hospital for people who are expected to die in 6 months or less. And it's a joyous thing, because they know that they will be reincarnated, and they're trying to show them the way that death is not a bad thing. And their mission is to imagine fantasy of death without fear, and they are spiritual counseling, and they're at the end of the life care. Okay. The Bardo Total is believed to be the work of Adamus Sambara in 18th century AD, and this book is a guide for the dead during the state that intervenes death and for the next rebirth. And he is considered to be the first person to bring Buddhism to Tibet. The Bardo Total is a guide that is read aloud to death when they are the state between death and reincarnation, in order for them to recognize the nature of their mind and attain liberation of the circle of rebirth. Buddhists believe in instant rebirth after death. And in the Bardo Total, it says that 49 days are between death and rebirth. Okay, the Bardo Total is not only a book to help the dying, but it's a guide for the living. Like other traditional books for the dead, it proposes the art of living well and the art of dying well, and that are one the same. It also suggests the reversal of one conventional notions of truth. Whatever is concrete, externally visible, therefore seemingly real, is the truth of only an illusion.